there, I'm Kira from KiraWitz.com. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you. Oh, fabulous that you've come and you've clicked on my video. I really appreciate it. And thanks to all my returning subscribers. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I hope you enjoy this channel and I hope you find this video useful. So today we're going to look at first of the swords. So I've already done the pentacles and so I just finished the pentacles. So you'll find those if you're needing to see that, or if you're looking for the cups, or if you're looking for wands, they're already now posted, and you'll find that I've got a playlist on court cards. So check that out. And this last little bit is going to be on the swords. And I've kept the swords for last because swords get a bad rap, but they don't need to get a bad rap. Because they're a very intricate part of the tarot, but they're also a very intricate part of our life, you know, because the swords are about everything to do with air. So it's your mind. It's how you think. It's about what words you use, how you communicate. The swords are your perception, what I think of as your colored glass, you know, how you see the world, how you interact with it. It's about therefore your attributes and your personality traits and how they come out and how you talk and interact, and what you do in the sense of how you put your mind to work. And because the mind is really important, so because it's everything about our breath, it's our respiratory system, it's our voice. So it's to do with, it's about our eyes, it's how we see the world, it's how we engage it. And when you think about it, you use your mind to understand your feelings. You use your mind to communicate your feelings. You use your mind to engage your passion. You use your mind. You use the air is a part of the cups. It's an integral part of the wands, and it's essential in the pentacles, because you know, how do you manifest something if you haven't thought about what it is you want to manifest? So all of the elements work together. They cannot be in isolation. So when you see a sword in a reading, you know, great. It's a very clear indication of the importance of the element of air to do with the situation. And, you know, sometimes somebody might say to me, but Kira, I've drawn, you know, a spread and it's primarily a swords. And yet I'm wanting to know about getting a home, you know, and I'd say, well, you know, it's been very clear. It's directing you to look at how you're thinking about it and what you're doing about it and how you're communicating about it and how you're processing it and how you're seeing this home, or this wanting to create this home. And it's about how, you know, it's about all of that and how that's such an important part of the process. So in addition to understanding, you know, what is swords and the element of air, you know, the next thing is to understand that this is, in this case, we've got this page. And what is the page? You know, the page is young energy. It's new beginnings. It's vibrant. It's, it hasn't sort of been beaten down by life. You know, it hasn't had a lot of experience. It's sort of new. So I think of it as a young person, you know, definitely, probably early, if not pre-teen. Sometimes it can be the teen years or the tween years. So think about how a young person interacts and what they're into, you know, and how they pick up on learning new things like that. They love technology and they grab it and run with it. And half the time I think, God, I wish I had a person of this age in my life so that they can come over and fix half my computer problems. They're not afraid to jump in and engage it because they haven't had a lot of life experience. They haven't learned the consequences of when things kind of go a bit feral, like those of us who are my age. Their mind, though, isn't fully developed yet. So that's the other side of the equation. So they may not see the world or analyze something as clearly as maybe the king or the queen will. They also, though, get an idea in their head and they kind of stick with it, or they can be blinded by it. So when I look at this page of swords, first thing I notice is the posture. The hair is swept back and looking out over the shoulder, always looking behind. So what does that mean? If I'm engaging in my communication, my thinking, my processes, if I'm looking at my values and my beliefs by looking at what's behind me, who's coming up, what might that mean in the situation? The other thing is where they are. So besides the fact the foot's sort of placed out as though to say, oh, everything's great, I'm wonderful, which is fantastic. No worries, got carefree life, nothing's going to go wrong. They're on top of a hill, a greenish hill, and we know it's up high because we've got these mountains here in the background, and there's a breeze flowing, because remember, wind is also part of air, so that's really important. So that breeze sometimes comes through and washes away all the worries and concerns or the limitations in some ways. And so that's feeding your information here as well. So I think about that and I put that into the context of the reading, and I'm drawn when I see this beautiful page to think, okay, they've climbed. It's about going to the top of a hill and doing your own thing and not really caring too much or not being too stuck or bogged down in the nitty gritty of maybe what everybody else is doing. So I'm going to great for a real learning something new and getting really stuck into learning something new. Being very logical about how I want to go about learning something might be something here. At the same time, though, this person, sort of on the top of the hill and not too, sort of left everyone behind them, might blurt things out, might not fully think through something, might not know to fully think through something, might not know the consequences of blurting something out, which is why they often say, the comments out of a young child is often very cute, but also can be quite embarrassing or difficult for a parent because they don't think about it. They just blurt it out, So that's sort of what this page might do. But also that looking over the shoulder, that might also be saying if you, can that lead to sort of maybe a little bit of paranoia or worrisome, could that be in the picture? Possibly. Or is this looking, this person, looking over their shoulder, are they feeling like they don't need to get bogged down in the politics of what's going on in the office? Is this wonderful colleague that I've had them, they don't seem to get fazed by anything. They don't get worried or fazed. They're just so fixed on or happy with what they're doing. They're working on their project or they're part of whatever it is they're employed to do, and they're very happy and content to do that. And they just sort of very light-hearted, very easygoing. They just don't get too worried or too fazed. That can be also found within this card. Sometimes, though, this page might show up when a person realizes they need to hone in on something, that becomes single focused. So this might be, somebody who's a little older like myself, and I get this page of swords, might be directing me to think about putting my mind and my focus and my attention onto being one-pointed. So I really get to the heart of the matter. You really get to the truth of knowing what's happening, to work through and stay focused to ask the really important questions, not letting everybody else's input influence me. Is that what the looking over the shoulder is? Just putting it all a bit aside because and so go to that quiet space at the top of a mountain to think through and be focused and ask therefore be able to ask the right questions. Again, if I see this, I might be thinking, what is the person been pondering? What is of primary focus? When you see this card, it can really hone in on what is the primary focus of the situation. Is it that I have a faulty perception about what's happening? Is it I'm not seeing what's really happening? Is it that I'm being too influenced by others? Is it that I've gotten bogged down, worried that it's going to repeat the way it always has, and not realize that the wind is coming and there's a change on the way? It's like when you have a bit of a storm and sometimes it blows through really quickly because there's lots of wind to keep it moving. Is it that I've got a new idea about something? And particularly if it's because of swords, we know it could be, definitely you might be looking at things like communication. So in this day and age, we're looking at internet and fast moving information, although that's probably more the night, but just the electricity of the mind. And so the nervous system is also in play here. The electricity of the mind is being engaged. It's being fired up. And of course, then the page does feed into the night. So that take the idea and run with it will be the night's job. Will be what the night will take on. Sometimes though, this person might be so focused, they're trying to truly they want to solve the problem completely. But remember, the page is very young and possibly not fully mature, and therefore may not be in a position, in fact highly unlikely to be in a position to solve the problem. But you look at the rest of the spread and see where is that wisdom to guide, or where is that spark leading to, that you then look at the energy around it to fully inform the situation. Okay, so that's sort of how you're thinking about it, because it is a page, so it's about the person or about someone coming into the situation to offer this energy, because this is very important, this energy of putting aside others' thoughts, going to a higher space where you've got a quietening of the mind and really being focused, learning something and honing in on it, being very logical, having that new sense of wisdom, and that comes with clarity through. Sometimes we've got to really stop and really look at it to get that clarity. It can also be around, once you find that clarity, speak your truth. So you might find this comes up when somebody isn't speaking their truth, or someone who else is in the situation that's looking behind. Is this true, what they've been telling me? Is that playing around with my mind? Is that influencing my perception? But maybe that's not real. Maybe I need to pull that apart and ask more questions. Get more information, communicate, get those ideas on board. Where a person with this card can fall into a bit of trap, as I said, if they blurt things out, they don't think them through, if they just sort of speak before they fully absorb or utilize that still pointed mental approach to the situation, that can kind of let them make things a bit crazy. The clouds here, I think, they're very light, very fluffy. I think that's also, and the birds going by and this imagery is to do with the breeze. And as I said, this lovely breeze is really significant to let you know that things are wanting to move, they're wanting to shift, we're wanting to take this energy and allow it to focus us so we can have the opportunity, because it's about new beginnings and opportunities, because it's a page. It might also be a green light to say, once you've got there, go for it. Follow those thoughts. Trust this alignment that you have with yourself, and believe in that. Believe in yourself instead of what others are saying, and so forth. Because the relationship with yourself is also really key here. So look, that's just a brief look. I tried to think of things or look at what I've been working on recently, and maybe a little different than what I've said in my previous video, where I looked at all the court cards of the swords together. So if you haven't looked at that, you might find that useful. You'll also find some various readings that I've done where this card is appearing with other cards, and you looking at the combination of how you take the energy and look at it in combination, and how you use that. You might find that useful as well if you're learning the tarot. And yes, there's way more I could talk about in this card, but I don't want to make this video too long, because that's too much for all my subscribers and my voice. I've got to go get a drink. Isn't that interesting? I've got a swords card and I'm finding I desperately need a drink. So thank you so much. I love the fact that, you know, my YouTube channel is growing steadily, slowly but steadily over time. And so that tells me that, yeah, keep going, Kira. There's people out there that are interested. Leave me your thoughts and comments. Give me a thumbs up if you like it, because then I definitely know, okay, good, I'm on the right track. If you are wanting a private reading, if you've got, you know, some challenging situations in your life at the moment, if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed or a bit stressed, or if you're not sure about some direction, you know, the tarot is wonderful for answering, making decisions or helping to make decisions, bringing about that sense of clarity. It's also a great way to connect with your higher self, or figuring out, you know, what your alignment of your daily life with your life purpose. It's sometimes, so some people come because of that. Other times people come because I just want to know what their year ahead looks like, and I love doing those sort of readings for people. So really I try and make my style of reading, the spreads I use, and what I offer, for whatever it is that you need, because the reading is for the person I'm reading for. I'm really just a conduit. I use my own spiritual guides and my own intuition and my clairvoyant abilities to feed into the process. The tarot is a tool for me to do that. And I'm available to do that for you. Go to my website. You'll find out what services I offer. I've got a booking program that makes the process quite easy. And those of you who are in the States or the UK, hey, the Australian dollar is terrible at the moment, so it's pretty affordable at the moment for those of you there, compared to maybe some of you who are in Australia here. But even then, you know, I try and keep my prices very affordable, because I want to be able to do this as much as I can for all of you, and also pay all my bills and so forth and whatnot. So fantastic. Have a great day. Thanks so much. Cheers. Bye.